Foresight Fight, devlog number 36. The last 3 weeks have been kind of weird for me. This project is at an odd stage of its development. There's a lot of fiddly slow stuff that I have to do and just kind of got to slog through it to get where I need to be. I decided that the focus of my last 3 weeks was going to be fixing up the showcase scenario to actually look good. So basically I started with this, picked out the thing that bothered me most about its look or feel, whether the scenario itself or the way that I interact with it in the general game, and then just work on that, keep on iterating, and just make everything feel better. I tried to find a good way to put a background behind this text and just could not make it look good so far, so that still needs more iteration. But I did do another thing. So if I go here onto... Okay, yeah, so lots has happened. Hold on, I'm not ready to show the actual showcase scenario. Let's do this in a different place first. I'm going to choose UI limit stress test, because there's something cool I want to show there. So there was this text here that needed a background, but then there was also, I saw something that I didn't want to see. Something weird. I saw movement down here that shouldn't have been there. I'll have to investigate that. Anyway, while I wanted to get a background behind that text, I also wanted on the encounter setup screen, which is not this one, this is the map screen, and the battle screen to show the name of the battle being fought. And when I put it on a background, it just looked like this. But I had the flash of insight that I have this real nice looking encounter preview window here. And what if I could extend that to also show on the encounter setup screen with the name that shows here as it's supposed to, and it has a nice background behind it. That could also be the home for the start battle button. So here's what I did. If I select this encounter, right, this is still, oh yeah, this is new. When I roll over this, there's a, it actually highlights the active row. I guess when I'm using a controller, the highlight is just the pointer on it. So those are separate things. Anyway, so if I start this, there was a little transition that happened there. It doesn't look great with the one that has the super long text. Let's pick one with, ooh, yeah, there was something I didn't like at all there. Okay, let's do it with shorter text that actually fits. So what happens here, my favorite part of this is the way I realized I could make the champion icons zip over to where the battlefield is, and just kind of merge with it. As the transition happens, the large graphic fades out and the icons fades in, or vice versa. You'll also notice this has a black outline around it. More things to talk about there in a bit. But anyway, so the battle name is here, and if I add somebody to the party, the start battle button shows up right there. So yeah, just everything works real nice during that transition. Since this box moves over to the right a little bit, the start battle button kind of comes with it. Is that going too far? Ooh, yes, okay, I see a nuance. This button actually travels faster than it's supposed to. Okay, yeah, little tweaks to make. Oh, right, yeah, and this warrior graphic is here. I redrew all of my character sprites that were in a front perspective to be side-on, so that they would be facing each other appropriately. I just want to show one thing here. This is fun with maximum enemy count. This was my test bed for this transition. It all unfolds. I actually ended up reversing the order that these icons are drawn. You would never know that they were drawn in left to right order, and now they're right to left, until you can actually see the correspondence between this and the battlefield. But anyway, I really like the way those unfurl there. It's fun to look at. So let's go back to the test scenario for a moment. Right, so things I did. Oh, there's another change over on the right here that I forgot to point out. I don't know, there's a bunch of UI changes just kind of everywhere. It was a haphazard few weeks for a lot of reasons. I changed the perspective on the icons too. So the icons and that highlights when it's not clickable. Non-clickable rows in data window view should not highlight. That is a change for me. Okay, I will change it. But anyway, so my my turn order view there, one of the oldest bits of UI, finally actually had a change to it. It no longer draws champion text, because I was finding that I was having a lot of trouble fitting champion names into this little tiny space here. Used to have the, so now it has champion, so acting champion, action, target. And if I want to, I can point at those things and look at what the champion is, look at what the action is, look at what the target is. These two are the same. Being able to point at the champion here is new. So anyway, right, you need to do the appropriate actions to win this battle, as we know. I still... Ooh, did I see... Okay, got another little transition problem. When I leave this screen to start the battle, this disappears for a moment. It should not. Okay, that's easily fixed. I more or less know why that is. That's fine. Small regression. I'll fix it on my own. So right. Battle proceeds as normal. I don't think the battle screen has changed other than that the turn order view looks the way it does now. This is still pretty much the same, but yeah, you can see these two battling with their outlines and their fixed perspectives. It looks better. And when I win this battle, I get a mage champion, so we can see how that looks. Warrior here, mage here. And there we go, facing to the side. And I applied this to the giant also, facing to the side. As it should be. Whoops. Right, didn't I want to default the cursor to... I ran into this last time and somehow didn't get that on my to-do list. So when I select Mage 1 here, and add to party, and I go here to a blank tile where I probably want to add another champion, cursor should default down here, not to moving the champion I just added. Okay, that's something I know I called out before, but somehow didn't manage to fix. Okay, man, that transition is just so satisfying. It would be nice if I could do some kind of smooth scale from this size to the icon, but there's not necessarily going to be a one-to-one correspondence, and also scaling pixel art doesn't work great under normal circumstances, and these are normal circumstances. But fading from one to the other works pretty well. It's as smooth as I think it needs to be. Anyway, yeah, so those are the main graphical changes. Anything I missed? Not especially. So, let's go to the showcase scenario. I changed some things about how this is managed. This is no longer a built-in scenario, so I've actually just imported this from disk, but also I have it under version control so that my changes stay around. Like, the awkwardness that I'm finding for myself is that I don't have editing enabled for built-in scenarios because those are copied to a temporary location when the game is built. They're not referencing the master copies that are under version control. But then, like, when I am editing this in the editor, that's stored in a, not temporary, but like in a location that doesn't belong to Foresight Fight. This doesn't line up. This is 1 or 2 pixels too low. That should line up at the top of that button. Also, the space down here is too little. Space down here is too much. So this needs to move up. Got it? Okay. Another note for myself. Right, so anyway, showcase scenario, being managed a little differently. I did a whole bunch of work on this, just fixing all the little things that bothered me. So let's just see. So first thing was the map tile was in a weird place. So I moved it from there to there, gave it an actual color instead of just white, gave the champions icons. So now instead of just using the range icon for archers, they actually look like archers. I brought in the warrior icon for protectors because I didn't want to bother drawing another one. I could have, but I didn't. Anyway, so there's my archer sprite. That's what they look like. These were real satisfying to draw. Just a whole bunch of fun to mess around with. I could center these a little differently. Should your feet be in the center of this tile? I think so. Yours are. That's just because you don't have a long arrow protruding from the front of you. Right now I'm just framing this graphic by whatever bounds of are of the imported image, but I think I want a different origin to it. Like if you had a flying monster or something, well, it would probably have a shadow below it. I think these need shadows. The black outlines help a lot. Shadows would help more. Anyway, yeah, so we got the new grass tile in here. I think that's actually not new since last time, but anyway, it's there. I made a new energy sigil graphic. So it's actually a little bit of stone on the grass with a star painted on it instead of whatever nonsense I had before. I think it looks better. Doesn't stick out as much as before. Anyway, yeah, so the actual solution to this battle remains the same. I want you to fortify yourself and then just attack forever. Yeah, so I can see the distinction here. Fortify the one facing to the left, which means friendly protector. Attack the one facing to the right, which means unfriendly. And then, right, there's no equipment to manage. I should maybe hide this for scenarios that don't involve equipment. Is that an unusual case? Probably not. It's probably a good idea. Anyway, I still have some things to think about like whether I want this icon to be in full color like the full-size thing. Icon colors has been an unresolved question for a very long time, and I still don't have a resolution to it. But, you know, I'll get to it eventually, among my mountain of other things I need to do. Alright, anyway, yeah, so solution to this. Volley everybody on the enemy team. Shoot this archer, and since you're standing on the energy sigil, you can actually do another volley at that point in the battle. I know because I just tested this. And then that will both kill the second enemy archer and damage the protector. So after that point, you just want to attack protector forever. And that should be the optimal solution to this battle, as far as I currently know. Alright, so one of the things I did, I can back out of this without losing my working solution. One of the things I did first was to use this little sort of implicit to-do list. Actually, I still have the showcase scenario rebuilt here, so we can compare. Yeah, one of the first things I did was I came in here and looked at this warning view and just fixed up all the things that I could fix up in it. So there was the map zone thing. This can operate without map zones, but it'll yell at you about it, so I fixed that. Has map zone, has color group. Yeah, so I colored the thing in the map. Map zone stuff. Attack spell effect had no visual effect. Fortify had no sound or visual effect, etc. Volley had none of that stuff. These warnings still remain. Oh, right, and I incorporated this into my... yeah, so if we compare with current version of Showcase Scenario, it just complains about energy, not having spent sound or visual effect for, spending or charging. Anyway, yeah, so go back to this battle. So here's what the Showcase battle looks like now. The new champion graphics help a huge amount. Ooh, those colors. Those colors are bad. I'll fix them. Yeah, so because this scenario is so heavily about regenerating and spending energy, I didn't want a bunch of noise, like audio and visual noise, for every single turn, because you'll always be generating some energy and spending some energy when you take an action. So it made more sense just to leave those blank. Anyway, yeah, so spend 4 energy. Let's see what this effect looks like. Okay, so charging up to use Fortify. That's kind of weird how... Yeah, there are things I'm not satisfied with yet here, because it's like... Let's restart this turn. So with no visual effect or sound, the energy bar goes down. Yeah, you do see the -4 star come out of there. Then green energy stars accumulate inward. Shouldn't those happen simultaneously? I guess the reason I split them up is because... Oh, but I don't need to. Why would those not be simultaneous? My reason for splitting them up had been that a spell could cost more than one type of resource, but that doesn't mean anything. I could say player protector spent 4 energy, like add 2 health if it is a thing, to use Fortify on player Protector. Like, those could all be coalesced into one single turn step. I could have like 2 steps of stepping through this, but that's just not necessary. Yeah, that's 1 atomic unit. That should be 1 single turn step. Oh boy, that has implications, but I think it is the way I want to go. Anyway, so next step is Fortify effect happens. So little brown shields just sort of fly in. But for this, I was just kind of reusing the particle patterns that I had available for visual effects. Rather than implementing new ones, just doing what I could. That sound, I think, came from Convergence, so that's currently my source of various sound effects to pull from when I don't want to make a new one for something. Okay, so you have fortified status. I can't click that. Right, this whole thing is non-interactive. Why? I should be able to point up here and do stuff. At the very least, look at status effects, because that's the best status view. I feel like that used to work. I totally used to be able to click up here and... Oh, that was before I changed my battlefield view the way it is now. Okay, well yes, I should definitely be able to inspect status effects from there. Because coming into this menu is kind of janky. I don't like it nearly as much. Expires after taking physical damage 2 times. Power is 2. In case you want to... parse through how the formula works, that's the value of power. So it's +2 defense because this was a power of 2. Anyway. So right, you have fortified status until you take physical damage twice. Step forward. Now it's Archer's turn. So the volley effect here, right, you're going to spend the energy first. -5 star, bar goes down. Again, reusing particle animation patterns I already have, reusing various sounds. So this effect looks like a whole bunch of arrows flying out in the same pattern as if I were... What did I use that pattern for? The outward... I don't know what else that was used for. But yeah, so basically shooting a whole bunch of arrows. The closest equivalent I had among the visual effects that were already there was to draw a little arrow graphic and just have them kind of fly out in all directions from this this character. And then, yeah, it does just a little slash effect across there and does the damage. Works okay. All right, so Protector, just going to attack. This should... Wait, no, that's Enemy Protector. Right, still, just going to attack. One thing that confused me last time about how the status worked is that... okay, so hang on, how does the status work? It's +2 defense. Now it expires after taking physical damage 1 more time. But nothing in the combat log specified that a charge of that status was spent, and I might want to change that because, yeah, I confused myself with an unexplained why the status expired when it did, because it looked like you took no damage, but no, you took no damage specifically because the status. It spent a part of itself to protect you. So yeah, I might want to specify that better here. Anyway, yeah, so you fortified, therefore you took no damage from that. Whoa, my cursor's there. I want it here. All right, so then Archer goes and spends 1 energy to shoot Protector. That just uses the same attack animation for shoot as, like, whatever, you know. That's what an attack looks like. You lost 2 health, which was reduced because of your status. This status... Oh, interesting. So we're in this weird in-between state here where it's lost its charge but hasn't actually expired yet. This is valid, it just looks weird. Oh boy, there's so much to do to make a video game. These are all important steps. Alright, so then the status expires. It falls off because it's done with any... the expiration conditions are fulfilled. So yeah, now when you get shot, you'll take the full 4 damage, probably. Yeah, Protector lost 4 health. Oh yeah, right, I made these just say Protector here when it's not ambiguous. You can see this is clearly enemy, this is clearly player. That string still doesn't really fit in there, and I don't know what to do about it. I mean, it does fit, but like anything any longer, this is not an incredibly long name. Like, it's very likely I will bump up against this limit. There's a lot of space here. What's this used for? Since I only show one action at a time, resource bars expand vertically. I guess just for extra status effects, but I could definitely just pull this little bar over and have more room to print the name there. I don't know, like I gotta stop at some point. It's this weird visual balance between like having enough space for text that I want to put in there, however wide I make this, and having this look nice and tight the way it's supposed to. It wouldn't be inappropriate to have rather larger than this character sprites. Like, these are still kind of small, even at the size that I've chosen for them. These could definitely be bigger. If it's large enough, right now it just overlaps outside of the box and off the top of the screen if it's that tall. Yeah, so that's a problem I don't yet have a solution for. Anyway, right, so player protector's turn, gained 1 energy because you passively do that, spent 1 energy to use attack on you, and you take 1 damage. All right. So then you get 3 energy, do your attack on the 1 archer there. And at this point, we've basically seen everything. So we know how it all looks. We know how this battle's going to go. So you go away. This will gain 3 energy because you're standing on the energy sigil. Spend 5 to volley. Shoof. What happened? Did I target my volley wrong? Oops, I went too far back. These transitions are so smooth, I don't even know where I am at this point. I didn't target my volley wrong, and yet it only hit 1... Those are targeted the same, so like this is the target square. Enemy, all spaces. I saw that, right? Where do I want to be? I need to be able to, like, seek to a particular turn within a battle. I didn't pay attention to the turn number when I backed out of there, but I could have. What's with your action? Why are you going to volley on... How did this happen? It's still set to all spaces, but this is not covering all spaces. Ooh, this is a core gameplay bug. Interesting. I don't know why that is doing as it does. Does it have to do with my... where I chose the... like, which space I chose for the target? Like, let's go... Well, let's target the one that I want to hit at that point, but I want to hit all spaces. Yeah, this one I do not have a ready explanation for. Let's make some noise. So when my protector dies, I know it's time to pay attention. Right now. Still no. That's fascinating. I have no idea why that is. Okay, well, I probably wouldn't win the battle with that. No, I wouldn't. Oh, the damage effect played from that. That's funny. Okay, well, I have a different way to win that's a little less optimal. You can, instead of volleying, just attack this archer, because single target works. Alright, so I want to be at turn, like, 10 or so. Yeah, turn 10. Alright, so turn 10. Spend 1 energy to shoot enemy archer 2. Alright, sure. Anyway, so that gets it done. Cool. Earned champion healer. So by the way, there was another character that I had planned for adding to the showcase for a while. I got as far as drawing a sprite for him. Right, yeah, I can actually just go back and show in gameplay here. So yeah, there is a healer now. Ooh, I can't see that white thing in his hand on that white background, but it's there. That's what he looks like. And he has no abilities because I didn't get as far as defining any. But the idea is that this would be... yeah, so basically you have a protector role, a damage dealer role, and a healer role. And that was going to be the main focus of like how things get done in the showcase scenario. But yeah, he's just a sprite with no actual actions available. So yeah, next step for me on this is to build some more interesting puzzles. This encounter right here is fine. The first one there, with the energy sigil on the ground, just the protector and the archer. Perfectly reasonable. Got to puzzle out how to get it done, because there are definitely... if your volley target fails, then, the battle doesn't get done that way. But yeah, after that, then, there might be an enemy healer that you have to focus on with your archer first. But, like, how do you prioritize that? Don't know how the healing is going to work there yet. How is your centering compared to... So you're a little bit back, because, yeah, you're holding that thing out in front of you and have nothing behind. Yeah, you're back about as much as the archer. Those actually line up really well when I roll over like that. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So talking about moving elements around, this is where equipment goes, and boy, that's weirdly blank in a scenario with no equipment on it. Am I seeing? Okay, yeah, I'm just seeing background gradient going through this transparent thing, making it look like there's like a darker region up here than down there, which there is, because the background gradient's shining through, just barely. Anyway, yeah, so that's where I am with the showcase scenario. It looks and feels a lot nicer. It has another character that's in progress, but doesn't do anything yet. Simultaneously with this, well, not simultaneously, but I guess, another thing I did over the last few weeks, let's see, I think I can still get to this, was to tie up the last few, like, extremely important loose ends with gauntlets. So the UI might not look great yet, but it does all work. So now I did the thing I was talking about where a gauntlet encounter, so a regular encounter still just brings up start, rewards, solutions if you have any. A gauntlet encounter... I was talking about this thing where I wanted the battles to be the first thing, like a list of battles, first thing when I open the list here, and that's what it is now. If this looked any different on the encounter preview, you would see the difference, but these are both just fights with one imp. Anyway, yeah, so list of battles now. Rewards here at the top level, that's what you get for it. Can look at battle 1, it has one solution, which has that name, 1243. And then Battle 2. So I can actually change my timeline here. Battle 2 is unsolved in this state, and there's only one thing in the timeline. Okay, so what's the state of this? Oh, this is using the old front side warrior graphic and non-outlined imp. Right, because the scenarios all keep their own graphics. So you have one heart at the end of that battle. So if I do a different solution here, okay, so yeah, so what's your solution? If I make a tweak to this solution, that does the traditional way of things. 7 charges of potion. Right, so I learned that each potion use only gains me 1 health. So in order to regenerate my health to as full as I can get, I have to do something like that. Anyway, the whole point of this is just to generate a new... That's right, attack, 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 potion, attack, attack, attack. Oops, I attacked 10 times too many. Oh boy, I'm back here doing this again. There's no good way to delete an action out of the middle of my list of actions. I have to move it to the end and then press this minus button. I should come up with a good way to do that. Anyway, yeah, so that'll potion 4 times then before you kill the dude. Is 4 times the right number? Close enough. It wastes 1, but whatever. That's as good as it's going to get. Anyway, so At this point, this has created a second timeline. Right, so now I have... Oh, really? Is this because I chose a solution and it decided that I... Solution name, 2021 411 at 12:43. Got another bug here. 2, 3, 3 is enough. So if I go in here and I end, solution name is that. Okay, yeah, so I haven't... What I failed to do there was to register that I edited that solution and therefore should be saving a new one instead of just saying, oh, this is the same solution. That's the one you're reviewing. I think if I... Untitled 3? What do you mean Untitled 3? There aren't any others there. Oh no, so many bugs. Alright, so if I go back here and I start instead of going to solutions, actually that'll do it on its own. Alright, new solution saved. 2021 of 5:02 at that time. 24-hour time, huh? I guess that's fine. Okay, so what I was trying to show there are now 2 solutions there. I can look at this one. This is the one with the 3 actions. I can look at this one. This is the one with the however many actions that don't fit there. So here in Battle 2, I can, if I continue, it gives me the timeline where the warrior has 4 health, because that's the most recent one. I think that's the reason it does that. But if I choose my timeline here, I can say, go to the one I did in April, and you have 1 health. Or change the timeline to the one that I did just today, where you have 4 health. So yeah, switching timelines works. It was simpler than I thought it was going to need to be. Not a big deal. This would be a lot friendlier if these had better names rather than just like the time and an unimplemented thing. Yeah. They sure would. Ooh, why does moving my cursor make that disappear? I know why. Complicated reasons. All right, so I need to... it has to do with the way that I made this correspond to where my mouse is. It sees that this pop-up is open, doesn't acknowledge that another one is open, and that it should be locked into displaying what the selection was in that pop-up. That's not all that it is, but that's kind of what it is. Sure. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. So timeline switching works now. That's great. So, right. That was as far as I got. Like I said, last 3 weeks have been kind of weird. This is an uncomfortable, slow section in this game. I'm doing things. Some of those things are exciting. A lot of them are just kind of drudgery. To keep my inspiration for game development in general up, I've been doing a thing. So there's on this project in general, I have a productivity method where I work on this game for a minimum of half an hour, absolutely every day, no matter what else is going on, and I'm still keeping that up. Any extra work that I can do on it is a nice bonus, but it doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's just that half-hour work unit. I find it helpful when I'm in a place on one project where things are just kind of slow and annoying and, just got to work through a bunch of work I don't want to do in order to get to the things I do want to do. It's useful to have another kind of related project that is in a more exciting phase of its development. And I have an overall plan here about this game. I've said this thing before. Every time I look at the amount of work remaining on this game and try to estimate when it's going to be done, the answer I get back is about a year from now. Last time I talked about this, it was about a year out. Right now, it's about a year out. Someday this game will finish. Anyway, but all that just to say, this is a big project. It's a long-term thing. Not going to be ready anytime, especially soon. I have so many little things to iterate on still. But I still believe in the concept and I want to get it done. But like, in many ways, this is kind of unfulfilling because it doesn't show extremely well as a game. These devlogs are a little bit of a challenge to do. I kind of use sort of almost a let's play format for this. I just mess around with the game, show what I did. When I run into bugs, if I feel like it, I fix them. I guess I didn't feel like it today. None of the bugs felt like they would be interesting to fix on video right now. As I talk and stare at this, I'm questioning my kerning of whether this T should be a little closer to this H. Maybe it should, compared to the G and the H. Anyway, these are the things I look at. Is it the same over here? Somehow this looks better. But the spacing must be the same. I think it is. It's just an illusion that this looks different from this. Anyway, yeah, so side projects. Last year, when I was in a slow period on this project and didn't want to look at it and wanted to work on something else, I started a little side project, which was a story-driven exploration adventure game that I was hoping would be a little thing I could do over a few months and have some fun, release a little game that would help me kind of... Having another oh boy, getting all flustered here. The overall plan here was to release a game or two before Foresight Fight is done in order to practice releasing smaller projects, because I haven't released a game in ages. Like the last one that I did was Convergence, which was 2011, I think? So 10 years. It's been 10 years since I released a video game. What it meant to me back then to release a video game was to upload an executable to my website with a download link there, and that was it. Like, that was the entire release process for me. Someday I want to be able to make this my primary way of getting money, so I need to be able to sell things. So, I need to understand some business-related things. I'd like to have an itch.io page up for my own projects, but I haven't yet made anything that's worth putting there or worth considering that I want to sell it for money. So anyway, baked into my plan for Foresight Fight is side projects that I release first before Foresight Fight is done. Anyway, so last year I tried to start what I thought would become the first of these, a story-driven exploration adventure. That project, just by developing out the story and the plan for it to what it needed to be, turned into something way too large for a side project here. I still very much want to get that thing done, but it needed to be shelved because it would take too long for its purpose at that time. So, about 2 weeks ago, at the time of this recording, I got another flash of inspiration and started another side project that I'm trying to keep very small in scope. It's a side-scrolling action platformer with combat. I am not talking about too many specifics about these, just like how they affect Foresight Fight. I'll show these games in a different time and place that's more appropriate. But anyway, so how that affects this project. So yeah, felt a lot of inspiration. I've been able to move very quickly on that project. It's just extremely satisfying to put something together so quickly and just have a fast iteration time and see my work turn into something that's actually playable. And that has kept my inspiration up for game development in general and made it more possible to stick with the slow, drudgerous work here on my main, large, long-term project. So just like effects of this, I get to release this pent-up energy from working on one genre of game to work on something completely different. So, this other thing I'm working on is real-time. It's reflex-based. This is as unreflex-based as you could get here in Foresight Fight. So yeah, just it kind of complements the projects complement each other in that way. And there's also a lot of a lot of little things I need to do to the game development framework that I use for Foresight Fight, for that first side project, for the second side project, for basically every bit of programming I do these days uses this framework called STEM that I've been building up over the last however many years, a long time. And, it's paying off. I'm able to write code that I feel is very expressive and work in a way that feels most efficient to me and me specifically. Anyway, yeah, so I needed to put a sound effect into that game. I talked a little while ago about how this, the unlock sound effect, let's see, I don't think I can unlock this because I don't know how to solve that encounter, do I? Let's see if I do. So if I go to the timeline where I have 4 health, and I give you, right, you still have your equipment. You need to attack and potion and just kind of do those things alternating forever. And will you get this done? Maybe. No, you need to potion twice there. Yeah, that's right. This was super annoying to make happen. Is that enough? Let's just find out. There we go. Okay, I solved the encounter. So this sound right here. I spoke about how I used an actual recorded sample of a padlock opening and then pitched it down significantly and applied equalization. Then I wasn't happy that I had done that in a non-repeatable way in an audio editor, so I made this other tool for assembling audio files from a raw sample and a list of transformations that I wanted to do to it. So the transformations would be slow it down and then apply equalization. Then I got stuck on equalization because it's an incredibly complicated technical problem that I needed more expertise for. But anyway, I needed a sound effect for this new side project, and that prompted me to go and dig out my work on my audio recipe constructor and make it work well enough for that. So by making progress on the tools that I use to build games like that, that will come back around and benefit Foresight Fight, because now my audio recipe evaluator is a little more mature. It can't do equalization yet, but if I implement it in the audio tool, then that benefits 2 projects at once. It's just getting double the benefit from the same amount of work, which is real nice. Anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm at with this right now. Still very committed to this project. Nothing's changing with the schedule of it, but I'm doing what I need to keep my inspiration up, and I do hope to be able to talk about at least one of these side projects sometime soon. Again, I've only been working on this other one for 2 weeks. It's there's a lot to it for 2 weeks of work, but it's just not, this is not the time or place to talk about that. And if I do devlogs for it, I think I'm going to take what I've learned from this experience here and probably end up with a rather different format. And maybe I'll reformat the Foresight Fight devlogs to match that at some point, but I'm not ready to make that changeover yet, if I ever will be. Anyway, yeah, so, right, that's kind of just a general update on what I'm up to. I'm going to keep chipping away at the showcase scenario, though I think, visually speaking, it's where it needs to be for now. Nothing severely bothers me when I look at this. I don't love, I guess, the biggest thing that bothers me right now is this effect here. The arrows doing that weird pattern that just doesn't look anything like the kind of motion that they would be doing. Several arrows being shot across the battlefield don't come out in all directions and then just kind of slow down before they disappear. But if that's the biggest thing that bothers me here, then I'm in real good shape visually. So I'm going to focus on mechanics, make several more interesting encounters here where the healer plays a role, make them gauntlets so that I can have a much better showcase of what's interesting about that than this terrible thing that I'm limping along with right now, right here, which just barely is able to demonstrate what's going on. Honestly, it's not. Because, just winning the battle puts you in basically the same state as any other way of winning the battle if you don't have some weird inefficiency, just because of the way the potion works. But anyway, yeah, so hoping to have more battles implemented in the showcase. Now that it looks nice, it doesn't bother me so much to work in that space, and that's what I'm hoping to have done next time. I'll see you then for that.